evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Shan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling you in on them over the next half hour. Our focus today would be on the political alignment and realignment that keeps happening in Bihar. Will the Janata Parivar finally come together? What about Manji? All these questions in the air today. We'll be talking about that to a special guest as well. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. The power tussle in Delhi turns into a legal battle. Both the Aam Aadmi Party and the centre moved the Delhi High Court and Supreme Court to resolve the crisis. After 18 years, Tripura decides to live AFSPA fully from the state. Sparks debate whether the act should be removed from other parts of the country. Former Bihar Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manji meets Prime Minister Modi, triggering speculation of a tie-up before Bihar polls, terms the Janata Parivar merger a failure. The Gujar agitation continues for the 8th day, blocking out highways and key rail routes. The government set to resume talks on Gujar's demand for 5% quota in government jobs. And the US warns China against activities in the South China Sea, releases video of Beijing building island on disputed waters. China rejects US charges, accuses Washington of harboring ulterior motives. Our top story this evening, the ongoing tussle between the Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi and the centre will now be sorted out by two courts. While the Delhi government moved the Delhi High Court today against the MHA notification on the Lieutenant Governor's authority, the Supreme Court will hear a petition by the Modi government on the High Court's order calling the notification a suspect.
It is now officially a legal battle between the AAP government and the centre. Both parties have moved courts on the controversy over Delhi Lieutenant Governor's powers vis-a-vis the state government. For the past 2 weeks, Kejriwal government has locked horns with the centre and Lieutenant Governor Najib Jung, whose discretionary powers to appoint or transfer top bureaucrats became a flashpoint in the national capital. On Thursday, AAP moved Delhi High Court against the centre's notification clarifying LG's powers. This comes a day after the AAP government passed a resolution in the emergency assembly session.
जो साफ इस बात को प्रमाणित करता है कि जो एलजी हैं वो प्रेसिडेंट के नुमाइंदे के रूप में दिल्ली के अंदर काम कर रहे हैं, कहीं से भी वो डिसीजन मेकिंग अथॉरिटी नहीं है। ऐसा क्यों कर हो रहा है कि केंद्र सरकार दिल्ली की चुनी हुई सरकार के अधिकारों को एनक्रोच करके शक्ति, ताकत, ट्रांसफर, पोस्टिंग की अपने हाथ में लेना चाहती है।
Meanwhile, the centre has approached the Supreme Court against the Delhi High Court order on the notification, terming it suspect.
The main contention of the central government before the Supreme Court is that the notification issued by the central government has been quashed by the High Court without providing any opportunity of the central government or without impleading the central government as a party in the petition before the High Court. The petition filed by the central government in Supreme Court is likely to be admitted and is likely to be granted.
Earlier, the High Court had ruled that Delhi's Anti-Corruption Bureau can initiate action against corrupt central officials. Kejriwal sees the ruling as a major embarrassment for the centre. On Wednesday, the Delhi Assembly adopted a resolution against the notification, calling it illegal. It had already passed a resolution demanding powers to impeach the Lieutenant Governor. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the Tripura government has decided to withdraw the Armed Forces Special Powers Act with immediate effect. The present 6-month term of the act is all set to expire this month. The decision has sparked fresh debate whether AFSPA should be removed from all other northeastern states as well as Jammu and Kashmir.
Tripura has decided to do away with the Armed Forces Special Powers Act that was put into force 18 years ago. At a cabinet meeting on Wednesday, it decided to go with the popular demand. The ongoing term for AFSPA will end this month.
যে মতামত এটা নিয়ে আমরা আমাদের মন্ত্রিসভায় আজকে অন্যান্য বিষয়ের পাশাপাশি আলোচনা করি যাতে মন্ত্রিসভা একমত হন যে আমাদের রাজ্যে এখন থেকে এই উপদ্রুত আইনটা আর চালু রাখার প্রয়োজন নেই, এটাকে তুলে নেওয়া দরকার।
I would like to welcome the very important decision of the Tripura government to lift the Armed Force Special Powers Act. I think over the past 1 year, the situation in Tripura has improved a lot. I hope that the lifting of AFSPA from Tripura will also have a positive impact on other states of Northeastern region.
AFSPA was promulgated in the state in February 1997 due to the relentless violence and bloodshed during that period. Following the provisions of the Act, it was reviewed and extended every 6 months for the last 18 years.
बहुत प्रॉब्लम था एक्सट्रीमिस्ट, लूटिंग होता है, किडनैपिंग होता है, किलिंग होता है. तो उस टाइम में डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह प्रधानमंत्री जब था, यूपीए गवर्नमेंट था, तो यूपीए गवर्नमेंट ने जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी लिया, बांग्लादेश के साथ अच्छा रिलेशन शुरू किया.
The special powers was first used in 1958 to control Naga separatists and was subsequently extended to most of the northeast. It has also been in force in Jammu and Kashmir since 1990. Tripura's decision has triggered the debate whether AFSPA should be removed from other parts of the country as well, especially the valley.
हमने यही आग्रह केंद्र सरकार से कह रहे हैं, जहाँ पे जरूरत नहीं है वहाँ पर इस कानून को हटाना चाहिए, और यही हमारी मांग भी रही है जम्मू एंड कश्मीर में. जहाँ जहाँ पर आपको ये आतंकवादी हमलों का खतरा है वहाँ पे इसको लागू करवाइए, ये नहीं कि पूरे स्टेट के अंदर इसको लागू करें.
Revoking AFSPA was one of the poll planks during the J&K assembly elections last year. Ruling PDP has raised demands to revoke the act. However, the army is against the move due to constant militant activities in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, the army admitted that it is facing a new challenge from the militants. Days after the militant attack in Sopore that killed a telecom official, the army said the militants are now targeting mobile towers and telecom setups in the valley. A lesser-known group called the Lashkar-e-Islam is suspected to be behind the recent attacks, targeting telecom towers and offices. Communication is one of the key arms for the forces in the valley to tackle militancy.
New challenge that has emerged in the security calculus, and we are looking into every facet of it and seeing what could be the possible motive and who could be the people who are indulging in this. As you are aware, this is something that has been criticized by all quarters of people, and we are actively at it, and I'm sure that the situation will be stabilized.
Now, focus story for this evening. With just a few months to go for the crucial Bihar Assembly elections, there is a strange buzz in the air. As the Janata Parivar tries to iron out differences and struggles to come together, former Bihar Chief Minister Jitan Ram Manjhi added more spice to the political conundrum on Thursday as he met Prime Minister Modi in New Delhi, fanning speculation of an alliance with the BJP.
As the battle for Bihar heats up and the world speculates about all the possible political permutations and combinations, Jitan Ram Manjhi has added fuel to an already raging fire. The former Bihar Chief Minister met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi on Thursday, fueling speculation that he may align with the BJP in the upcoming assembly polls. But he chose to remain silent about any pre-poll tie-ups, instead saying that post-elections he would partner with a formation that did not include current CM Nitish Kumar, a former mentor but now a bitter critic.
चुनाव का जो फलाफल होगा, फर्ज कीजिए कि हम ही को सरकार बनाने की नौबत आ गई, मुद्दा आ गया, हमारे पास 2, 4, 10, 20 गो एमएलए की जरूरत हो गई, तो वैसी परिस्थिति में हम उस पार्टी को छोड़ करके जिस पार्टी में नीतीश कुमार है, बाकी सबका सहयोग ले सकते हैं. यदि हमारे मदद से किसी की सरकार बनते नजर आ रही है, तो वही नीतीश जी की पार्टी को छोड़ करके बाकी जितनी पार्टियां हैं उन लोगों को हम मदद कर सकते हैं, जिसमें भाजपा भी है.
After his removal from the post of CM and the JDU, Manjhi launched his own outfit, the Hindustani Awam Morcha. His unceremonious exit aside, RJD's Lalu Prasad sent him overtures to join a grand alliance, the Janata Parivar, that will include Nitish. But Manjhi says a tie-up that has both the RJD and the JDU will hardly work, a feeling echoed by the BJP.
देखिए, ये स्वार्थ का गठबंधन है. दोनों को अपने राजनीतिक अस्तित्व बचाने का गठबंधन है, और यह बातें बहुत साफ हैं कि दोनों के दिल नहीं मिले. नहीं तो 6 महीने से ये कथा चल रही है। लालू जी ने ये कह दिया कि जीतन राम मांझी को हटाने में मेरा सबसे बड़ा रोल था। आज उन्होंने बयान दिया है कि 2 बार मैं साथ में खड़ा रहा हूं नीतीश कुमार जी के साथ, जदयू के साथ, एक बार राज्यसभा चुनाव में और एक बार जीतन राम मांझी को हटाने के समय में।
Leaders associated with the Janata Parivar meanwhile claim all is well within the alliance and the merger is on track.
कोई असमंजस नहीं है, सब बातचीत होकर समाधान हो जाएगा।
लालू यादव कभी तारीफ करते हैं, रघुवंश जी कहते हैं सीट शेयरिंग को।
वो किसी के बयान पे बयान देना हमारे लिए ठीक नहीं। हम सिंसियर हैं मर्जर करने में, साथ होने में।
तो ये लायंस के बाद न तय होगा कि नेता कौन रहेंगे। अलायंस के होने के वोट के बाद उस समय लोग मिल बैठ करके तय करेंगे। अभी कोई नेता तय करना है तो फिर सब पार्टी मिलकर ना तय करेंगे कि एक पार्टी जो बोल देगा वही हो जाएगा, तो फिर मर्जर किस बात की।
However, the Congress was quick to attack Modi for meeting Manjhi. The party says with this the game plan of the BJP stood exposed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And JP Yadav, special correspondent of The Telegraph, now joins us to help us understand this conundrum in Bihar. JP, the political permutations and combinations just seemingly too many, but none of them really firmly coming together. Janata Parivar still not a reality. And what about Manjhi? Will he align with the BJP or won't he?
Look, everybody in Bihar now seems to be in a bargaining mode. Manjhi is bargaining in his own way with the BJP. Or other, the Janata factions, Lalu and Nitish, they are bargaining among themselves. Even the NDA allies, they are also bargaining for seat sharing and all that. Manjhi, if you remember, he had met Prime Minister last month also. Before that, as Chief Minister, when there was turmoil going on over his removal and all that, then also he had met. That clearly indicates he is maintaining a close coordination with the BJP about his political moves and all that. Whether he fights separately or goes into alliance, that will depend on the situation. Probably he is also bargaining for seats and all that, or something more, we don't know. But there is certainly, because apart from PM, he is meeting BJP leaders too. That is also significant. So he is also positioning himself. His main intention is to sideline Nitish Kumar, his bitter enemy now. So that way he is not ruling out any combination. Apart from Nitish, he is ready to go with anybody. So he is keeping his options open, bargaining with here and there. It's all, game is open now.
Alright, so it's all a big bargain game for now. But JB, in terms of how the political situation is shaping up in Bihar, the Janata Parivar, they've been trying to merge these parties together, these people who've been bitter opponents for at least the better part of the last decade. So how it is quite difficult, and the elections are not that far away. It takes time to build your base. So in terms of the Janata Parivar, have they lost that edge of coming together, and is it advantage BJP right now in the current situation?
In a way, yes. The way there is two Janata factions, the main faction Nitish and Lalu, they are fighting over a lot of issues, merger, who will be chief minister. On the face of it, it seems the BJP stands to benefit out of it. When their opponents fight, the BJP naturally will benefit. But I personally believe that whatever their bitterness and all that, but they will certainly come together. They'll have an alliance, because both of them are very intelligent and astute politicians. They know their survival is linked to it. If they don't align this, they will be nowhere. So even if they fight over some seats here and there, there may not be a proper alliance, but alliance for that matter will certainly happen. A seat sharing arrangement will come. Who becomes the major ally and who the minor ally, that is a question right now, and who leads the alliance. Those things, there will be differences.
But JP, in terms of just this alliance, in terms of if it's a loose alliance, in the Lok Sabha elections also, there was understanding between these parties to try to stop the BJP. That was seemingly unstoppable at that point. So, but that really didn't work out in their favor. So, if you're saying that it would once again be a loose alliance, a seat sharing and understanding, could it really hurt their chances?
No, in the Lok Sabha, I don't think they had an alliance of that. They were fighting separately, and it was
they were clearly two separate. That is what has the Lok Sabha result is what has driven them to understand that we cannot fight separately. We don't exist. Then we get marginalized. So yes, the BJP certainly stands to benefit if they continue to fight, if they don't come up with a uniform or unified face and a proper alliance. The BJP stands to benefit. That is what the BJP is doing. Here and there, they have their own base, but here and there, people like Manjhi, Pappu Yadav, trying to weaken the vote base of their opponents, Nitish and Lalu. If Pappu Yadav will disturb the RJD, Manjhi will disturb Nitish Kumar. So they are trying to consolidate their base, disturb the opponent's votes, and gain in this political doldrum.
All right, so with this kind of politics happening, the stage is all set for the Bihar Assembly elections, and this kind of bickering and bargaining is all set to continue. JP Yadav, thank you very much for coming in and helping us understand the politics of Bihar a little better. On that note, we'll take a very quick break right now. Coming up on the other side, the intense heat wave continues across the country, pushing the death toll beyond 1,400 now. More on that on the other side.
Spotlight on India's education sector. Scrutiny and criticism as it looks for direction under the NDA government. What's the trajectory and where's it headed? Watch the big picture at 6:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
त्रिपुरा से अफसपा हटाने की तैयारी, राज्य सरकार का फैसला। 18 साल से लागू है कानून। देखिए पहली खबर, त्रिपुरा से हटेगा अफसपा, आज शाम 7 बजे।
कौन है रोहिंग्या शरणार्थी? क्या हैं इनकी समस्याएं? और क्यों कोई देश नहीं चाहता इनको सहारा देना? 21वीं सदी का सबसे बड़ा मानवीय संकट। देखिए देश देशांतर आज रात 8:30 बजे सिर्फ राज्यसभा टीवी पर।
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Now, the Gujar agitation entered its 8th day today with no end in sight for now. Leaders from the community are meeting the state government team to try to figure out a solution. The union government, meanwhile, today deployed additional forces to the state to help Rajasthan handle the crisis.
The Delhi-Mumbai rail route blocked. Train schedules thrown out of gear. A key national highway blocked. Protesters holding a large part of the nation to ransom. As the Gujar agitation entered its 8th day, the centre on Thursday rushed 4,500 paramilitary personnel to Rajasthan to try and bring the situation under control. This after the Rajasthan High Court stepped up pressure on the state government to end the traffic disruption.
कल हमें रिपोर्ट करने के लिए जब समय दे दिया तो निश्चित रूप से हमारा भी दायित्व बन गया है कि किसी न किसी तरह से ये दोनों ही रेलवे ट्रैक भी और नेशनल हाईवे का जो आगरा रोड है ये हमें खाली कराना ही पड़ेगा।
Calling the agitation undemocratic, the High Court said that the state government had gone senseless towards the plight of the public. A meeting between Gujar leaders and the state government is underway to try and figure out a solution. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, with temperatures in many states hovering above 47 degrees Celsius, Indians are grappling with an intense heat wave that has killed over 1,400 people so far. And even as the death toll rises, the state and central governments and hospitals are still struggling to cope with the crisis.
a melted zebra crossing, long queues to fetch water and dried up riverbeds. The killer heat wave that has hit a large part of the country has so far claimed over 1,400 lives. Of these, nearly 1,300 are from the twin states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana alone, a situation that has left the state government and hospitals baffled.
IMD is predicting continuation of this heat wave for another 2 or 3 days. With some cautious this thing, we hope that this death toll decreases, or there may not be more deaths.
The temperatures are likely to be there like this. At few places, high temperatures are expected about 47 degrees. That is, severe heat wave conditions will be there.
The frequent power outages and scarcity of water in this scorching heat has only added to the woes of the people in Malkangiri district of Odisha. More than 100 people have died here, and with the dearth of facilities, the toll is only expected to go up.
यहाँ पर पानी का समस्या बहुत है। चेयरमैन को बोलने से, काउंसलर को बोलने से भी कोई भी पानी नहीं देते यहाँ पे।
Advisories about how to escape the heat and how to stay protected are little help in these temperatures. The weatherman says respite is only a few days away, as monsoon will hit Kerala by the end of this month. But this good news too comes with a rider. The amount of rainfall this year would be less than usual. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
For all the other national news, let's take you nationwide. Congress President Sonia Gandhi today accused the centre of showing an apathetic attitude towards her constituency, Raebareli. On a day-long visit there, she took stock of the progress of various development works in the area. She also distributed checks to the families of victims of the Bachravan rail accident and met farmers who suffered crop loss due to the recent inclement weather. CBSE Class 10 results were announced today. Over 13 lakh students had appeared for the exam this year. Over 94,000 students scored a 10 CGPA, the highest. Girls fared better than boys, although the pass percentage declined from 98.87% in 2014 to 97.32% this year. The results were supposed to be out 2 days ago, but were postponed due to unknown reasons. An RTI query has revealed that the Maharashtra government does not have any information on Bollywood actor Salman Khan's 2002 hit-and-run case, as the files pertaining to it were gutted in a fire at the Mantralaya. RTI activist Mansoor Darvesh was informed that the files were destroyed on the 21st of June 2012 when a fire engulfed the state secretariat. The Bombay High Court recently granted bail to the actor, suspending his sentence. Some international news now, and the United States has sent out a stern warning to China to immediately halt the ongoing construction activities in the South China Sea. Washington also released a video showing Beijing's reclamation work in the region. China rebutted all allegations, reiterating they're building a new island which will benefit all claimants of the South China Sea.
China's actions are bringing countries in the region together in new ways, and they're increasing demand for American engagement in the Asia-Pacific, and we're going to meet it. We will remain the principal security power in the Asia-Pacific for decades to come.
The US signaled a tougher stand on China if they continue with its South China Sea ambitions. Washington is evidently trying to spur Asian partners for more action. They also released a surveillance plane footage which apparently shows Chinese building new islands in the disputed waters. China continues to hold its stand that the US has ulterior motives in the South China Sea.
The United States will fly, sail, and operate wherever international law allows, as we do all around the world. Finally, with its actions in the South China Sea, China is out of step with both international norms that underscore the Asia-Pacific security architecture.
美方如果不是习惯了双重标准，就是另有所图。我想重申，中方有关岛礁建设活动的规模和速度，与中国作为一个大国。
China also reacted strongly after Vietnamese and Filipino troops played soccer and sang songs on disputed islands, apparently pointing at the growing security ties between the two Southeast Asian nations which are at odds with Beijing.
我还没有看到你提到的这个报道。你问我们担不担心？中国的一贯的态度和立场就是我们不会去招惹别人，但是呢，对于中国的主权和领土完整，我们捍卫的意志和能力。
Territorial disputes over South China Sea will be on the agenda at the annual Shangri-La Dialogue, which begins later on Friday. Ash Carter will join the Southeast Asian nations to make a more united stance against Chinese activities in the disputed island. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Time for some more news from around the world in Global Buzz. British Prime Minister David Cameron has embarked on a two-day tour of 4 European capitals to push his reform agenda with EU leaders. After meeting his Dutch counterpart, Mark Rutte, Cameron will hold talks with French President François Hollande in Paris. Cameron will warn European leaders that Britain will vote to leave the EU unless they agree to his reforms. 3 men who hijacked a passenger plane in 1998 and tried to take it to India were among 8 persons who were hanged on Thursday in different jails across Pakistan. The 3 convicts had hijacked the Pakistan International Airline Fokker flight in May 1998 and ordered the pilot to fly to India, but the plane was diverted and stormed by troops. There were 30 passengers on board. The US military accidentally shipped live anthrax samples to as many as 9 labs across the country and to a US military base in South Korea. The military personnel in South Korea were given preventive treatment after being possibly exposed to the sample. However, none of them have reportedly shown signs of any exposure. The Pentagon says the anthrax had meant to be sent to laboratories in an inactive state. Well, we are coming to a close of this show of News at 6, but before we go, we'll leave you with some disturbing news about world football as more raids were conducted in investigations relating to FIFA. Its top boss, Sepp Blatter, ruled out his resignation. He held an emergency meeting ahead of the polls to elect his successor. The UEFA has already threatened to boycott the polls, which could be a big blow to Blatter, who is seeking another term.
After some of the most powerful figures in global soccer faced extradition on corruption charges yesterday, FBI officials today raided the Miami headquarters as part of the international investigation. Former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner surrendered to the police mid-afternoon in Port of Spain on Wednesday. US authorities have charged a total of 9 soccer officials and 5 sports media and promotions executives with corruption involving more than $150 million in bribes over a period of 24 years. FIFA has provisionally banned 11 of the 14 charged with any football-related activity.
As the best financial investigators in the world, IRSCI special agents exposed complex money laundering schemes, uncovered millions of dollars in untaxed income, and discovered tens of millions of dollars hidden away in offshore accounts in countries like Hong Kong, the Cayman Islands, and Switzerland. This really is the World Cup of fraud, and today we are issuing FIFA a red card.
FIFA President Sepp Blatter hosted an emergency meeting amid the ongoing investigation. Seeking another term as FIFA boss on Friday, he has refused to step down. European football body UEFA warned it could boycott the vote. It said the Congress risks becoming a farce and that the vote should be postponed.
Il y a des accusations de corruption dans ce milieu. Moi, je pense que la raison serait, puisque je crois que l'élection est prévue dans quelques jours, qu'on prenne un peu de temps, qu'on regarde ce qui est fondé, ce qui n'est pas fondé, et ensuite les instances se prononceront. Mais là, sinon, ça va donner une image encore plus désastreuse de cet ensemble.
The governing body has landed itself in further trouble, with sponsors threatening to review ties over the arrest. Visa says it will reassess its sponsorship unless FIFA makes changes. Coca-Cola and Adidas too have voiced concern. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.